You were the good daughter, the one who never complained, always there to help people, the one who was described as the sensible one, the one that would put others before herself. But now you're exhausted, resentful, and wondering why being so good is making you feel so bad. Today, we're going to uncover something called the good daughter trap and why it's stealing your peace, and actually why Islam teaches something different. Assalamu alaikum all, welcome back to my channel. I pray that you're all in the best of health and iman. If you are new, welcome. My name is Nafisa. I am a certified relationship and trauma informed coach. Today, ladies, we are talking about a very important topic. Family dynamics and topics around that is something I haven't covered in a while, and I really wanted to cover this topic because I keep seeing it come up over and over again whenever I'm working with women in my practice. And you would have to excuse my voice today because I have a cough, so I might just need to clear my throat as we get by this video. But it's really beginning to come to my attention that a lot of us Muslim girls and daughters are being kind of used as the family's emotional caretakers, right? And that a lot of us are assuming that role quite proudly, quite happily. And of course, let me begin by saying I am all for what Islam teaches about how a daughter is to be good to her parents. I am 100% all for that. Not only am I a daughter, but I'm also a mom who also has a girl, right? And I love caring for my parents. I find a lot of joy in it. I find a lot of goodness in it. I have seen many ways that my parents have prayed for me and that Allah has helped me. So I definitely know that this is a good deed. Being good to your parents is ranked so highly in Islam, and I am 100% all for that. However, what I would like to advise for us women to take into practice is also caring for ourselves, because women in general, the way culture is set up to encourage us to put other people's needs before our own. And especially when it comes to family, it is such a sensitive topic. Because any daughter who dares to put her needs before her parents, before her siblings, before any other person is often criticized in our community. Let's just be honest, you're criticized in our community and it's kind of seen like you are being selfish. And so a lot of us haven't learned the difference between self-care and being selfish in a way that harms other people, right? We don't know what that difference looks like because, again, we've been brought up, especially hearing stories in Islam about how Jannah is beneath the feet of our mother and that we are always to take care of our fathers, we're to be good to them because Allah will ask us about that. And so because of that, we do try our best to go above and beyond to an extent of not only does our care extend to physical care and provision and all of that, but it also extends emotionally, that we are there to emotionally care for our parents. Now, that is where the difference lies. Taking care of others at our expense means that we end up being the resentful, angry, bitter, sad women that we grow up to be. And so now we have two identities we're battling with. On the one hand, we on the outside look so good, we look so helpful, we are so self-sacrificial. Everybody loves us because we're the one that can be depended on. We're the good children, right? We're the good daughters. But we're battling deep down inside with our true selves, because our true selves is like, actually, I just want to take care of me as well. And we begin to question, is it okay for me to take care of me? Is it okay for me to do something like that for me? Would this person be upset with me if I do something that involves me taking care of myself and it's not me taking care of them? Because we have been trained from so young to always care for others. There's a side to this that is healthy and a side to this that is unhealthy. And so we want to be daughters who continue to do good, but it's absolutely coming from a pure place. And it's not coming from a place of at the expense of us, at the hurt of us, on the expense of our mental well-being and our sanity, that we will extend and continue to extend help to everybody else and be everything to everybody else except ourselves. We will no longer do that. Whatever that good thing is, whatever that help you're extending to people is, giving away everything that you have to other people when you've got nothing left for yourself and your kids. You're contributing nothing to your home, but you're contributing everything else to everybody else because to maintain this image of a good girl. You've got that guilt inside of you because like, but this is what good daughters do though. So if I don't do this, I'm going to come across as a bad daughter. You can't take a break, have time out for yourself, gift to yourself every now and again. Every penny you earn has to be put in the family pot to take care of other people. And you're good without, you're okay, because this is what being a good daughter looks like. Well, I'm here to help you break some of this unhealthy patterns. Because if doing this brings you absolute joy and you're okay with that, fine, no problem. No problem. But where doing this is harming you, inside you know it's not sincere. Inside you're like, I'm okay giving 90%, but I also want to keep 10% for myself. But you don't feel like confident enough to speak up. And instead you give that 10% to, it's like 100% take it all. And so you are left with nothing. This is not a sustainable way of maintaining your mental well-being. Even with good deeds in Islam, we've got to learn to do them sincerely, guys. Good deeds have to be done sincerely. And sometimes the person we're lying to the most is ourselves. We're lying to ourselves. We don't want to be honest with ourselves because we're afraid of what we might find if we decide to be actually honest with ourselves. Because we're so uncomfortable with the truth. We don't want to face the truth because society has taught us that we are supposed to be the self-sacrificial lamb for everybody else's well-being. And I'm here to say, you first take care of yourself, and once you are good, you then extend that goodness to others. That is how it has always been. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, He says, save yourself and your family from the fire of hell. The verse started with self first. You got to save yourself first. Right? You do not want to be like those who are foolish, who help others but fail to help themselves. Right? Don't want to be like that. You want to be of those, first you help self, then you extend that to others. Because then it's coming from a pure place, because then you're feeling good about it, because then you're actually in a space where you can actually extend help to others. Your brother's got issues, your sister's got issues, your mother's got issues. You're trying to carry everybody else's issues on top of your own, and your own is already full. You're not getting therapy, you're not getting counseling, you're just like, it's okay, I can carry it. Be careful, sis, because one day you might tip. And then you're going to feel guilty when you tip and you become, God forbid, mentally unwell or physically unwell because of stress. Then you're going to feel bad because you're going to be like, I was the only stable one in this family and now I'm in this state. Who's got something against our family? When really, what you forgot to do was to take care of yourself so you could continue to be okay, so they could continue to get the blessings they were getting through you. Because it's all coming from Allah. Most women who are stuck in this good daughter trap often live unfulfilled lives, thinking that their purpose was only to come and help other people. Their only purpose was to come and help their family members. Their only purpose was to only come and help their mothers, to only help their fathers. And whilst our parents are at the highest level of the most important people that we should help, our help should not only extend to them. Our help should also extend to ourselves. And then our help can also extend to others. But how can we help even more people other than our parents if we are not in a good place? If we're doing it out of resentfulness, right? If we're doing it out of a sense of obligation rather than a sense of joy. I don't want you to feel guilty though, if you're doing it out of a sense of obligation. Because I can hear a woman right now saying to me, but Nafisa, if I don't do it, everything's going to fall apart. My parents are not going to have anything. So I have to do it. I hear you, girl. And I want you to continue taking care of your parents if that's what you do. Provide for them and take care of them. But I also want you not to forget yourself. Because here is one truth. When your parents are no longer here, that's if Allah decides to call them before He calls you. If your parents are no longer here, what will sustain you? What have you created, put together What do you have that will sustain you? I know Allah will sustain you, but Allah sustains us through our own efforts. So whilst you're taking care of everybody else, I just don't want you to forget about yourself in the process and feel like somehow this is noble. This is what we're supposed to do. Forget self and just focus on other people, and Allah will somehow take care of us. Because when we do things like that, we end up being beggars. And those of us, Allah blesses us with so much, but because we don't know how to manage what He blesses us with, we mismanage it. So much so that you are supposed to be the hand that's giving. You're now the hand that's trying to receive and begging. You go around begging. I don't have, give me. Because you mismanaged, because you misunderstood your role and your responsibility. Taking care of your parents' emotional health and their emotional well-being is actually their responsibility, believe it or not. It's their responsibility. Because there is only so much we can carry for other people. We can physically provide money to make sure the basic needs of our parents is met. Roof over their heads, food to eat, and all of that. But when it comes to their emotional wellness, we can say good and kind words to our parents. We can treat them good. That helps. It gives them a sense of relief. But we cannot fully manage their emotions for them. We cannot. We are not responsible for that. You're not responsible for managing anybody's emotions except your own. That is not an excuse to treat anybody badly and say, well, it's not my fault if you're angry. I'm not responsible for your emotions. If you're going to say something bad to someone, of course they're going to get angry. However, what we're not good at doing as quote unquote good daughters is giving other people the grace of also carrying their own burdens whilst we help in ways that we can. So how can you help as a quote unquote good daughter? You can guide to where the correct help is. You can do that. You can make dua. You make dua for people who are in need. And if you know that you're in a position to be able to extend, then you extend. If that person is in need for something and they don't know where the resource is, you can help them ask questions. Help them locate where the help is. You can do that, right? If someone is looking for ruqyah or whatever, you know a sheikh who does ruqyah, you can assist. That's how you can come forward and you help. And when you know that there's really nothing you can do, at the least you make dua for them. Ask Allah to help them. Ask Allah to aid. Ask Allah to grant ease with their difficulty. That's the least that you can do, right? But it's not like I am at a life stage where I'm carrying so much emotionally. I am so stressed. I feel like any more thing added, it's going to break me. But you insist on carrying more because you're trying to prove that oh my God, I'm such a great daughter. If your parents are having their own emotional difficulties and challenges, you make dua for them, you help, you guide. But as the daughter, it's not your responsibility to carry that emotional burden. Some of us daughters, some of us quote unquote good daughters, we've swapped roles with our parents. And I've spoken about this in Healing Traumatic Hearts. I have a masterclass on this. We've swapped roles with our parents, where we now as the daughters, we've now become the parents. We are carrying all the responsibility and the burdens of parents, and our parents have now been allowed to become the children who depend on us emotionally. And so for parents who are also watching this, as I am also advising myself, we've got to get it right in noting that it is not our children's responsibility to carry our emotional burdens for us. That doesn't mean you don't share your challenges with your kids. They've got to be the right kind of age, for you to be able to share challenges with them. And you've got to be careful what you say and so on and so forth. And it doesn't mean that your kids can never see you cry or whatever. But it just means that they shouldn't be responsible for carrying that load for you. They shouldn't be responsible. Okay? That is not their role. They are still, no matter how grown they are, they will always be your children. And as a parent, it is always your job to protect, to the best of your ability. And that involves protecting your children's emotional well-being, their emotional health. So for those of us parents watching this who have switched the roles, we've made our children the ones who we throw the emotional baggage at because we can't handle it, or we've become emotionally immature parents. Oftentimes, emotionally immature parents create daughters who are overly responsible, daughters who assume the role of a parent and of an adult way before their time. And that can have a lot of psychological impact. on the children. Parents, we have to grow up. Women, ladies watching this who are single or just newly married, think carefully. Do the work. Try and do some prep before you begin to have children. Because having children is more than just providing money for them and taking care of them. Like there are some issues in you right now that if you could resolve before you start having kids would be great. Because you just set them off at such a good baseline in life. Not that you will ever be perfect, and I don't ever want you to be trying to wait until the day you're perfect to have children. Kids don't need a parent to be perfect to grow up healthy. They just need you to have sorted out some of your major issues. So some of us who are emotionally immature, our kids are left to carry the weight. It's like when mom can't manage her emotions, when she gets so angry that she just does stuff, I have to then resolve the issue between her and her husband. I have to resolve the issue between her and dad. I have to be the middle person. I've got to be the sensible child who comes up with the resolution and manages the both of them. Why? So any daughter who's watching this who's like, I feel like my parents are emotionally immature, they're not doing it on purpose. 9 times out of 10, they're not even aware that they have this issue. But you as the daughter, when you begin to see that you are becoming resentful of all of the responsibilities you have to carry as a child that you don't want to carry, but that has been placed upon you, it's time for you to go and do your healing and for you to get help. Okay? Islam encourages us, like I always say, to be as good to our parents as we can be, right? And I always say, parents, they do the best they can with what they have. No one is perfect. No one comes out of their mother's womb knowing how to do life. So if your parents haven't gotten some things right, they're humans. You know, there are some things you haven't gotten right. But it's now your job now to do the work so that this does not continue. Going back to my point, some women have become so good at anticipating other people's needs that they have completely forgotten their own. They don't know what it's like for them to even have a need. They don't know what they want out of life. All they know is that they've always been the one to always save and rescue other people and help other people. And they are quite happy doing that. Until something happens, then it reminds them that actually, I don't want to be in this role anymore. I don't want to do this. This is not what I really want. But for some of us, we're so used to the pattern that this is just who we are. So in sacrificing ourselves in this way, a lot of us assume that us sacrificing ourselves is how we show love to others. Like we prove we love others by being able to sacrifice for others. Now, if that's how we view love, really deep down, that we have to sacrifice, that means we love somebody. If that's really how we see healthy love, we will always operate in those ways. And it will always mean that we will never feel like we're fully able to love someone until we're willing to sacrifice something for that person. Now, again, how far do we go with the sacrifice? When we feel like complete self-sacrificing is true love, then we will exactly do that. Now, what that sometimes does to us is we begin to measure our worth by what we have been able to give up. So if we want to go and do deep work about our self-identity, we may begin to then find that, oh my God, my self-identity is actually deep-rooted in how much I've helped other people defines who I am, defines how good I am. The more I've sacrificed myself to help other people, the better of a person I think I am, the better Muslim I think I am, the better daughter I think I am. So what does that mean? It creates a relationship pattern where in your relationships, be it with your parents, your spouse, whoever, you will always be overgiving as a way of trying to receive love.